Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to part 28 of Quranic Contemplations, where we're going to be looking at selected verses from the 28th juz of the Quran and reflecting and contemplating its meaning. The first verse we're going to be looking at is in Surah Hashr, verse number 9, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about those who performed the hijrah from Mecca and went to Medina, the Muhajirun. And of course, the Muhajirun were of a higher level than those from Medina, who were known as the Ansar, the helpers. And this is why Allah says, those who settled in Medina and had faith before them, meaning those who were in Mecca had faith before those in Medina, because of course that's where revelation began, in Mecca. And so they became Muslim first. So they have this benefit over the ones who are in Medina. However, Allah then says about those who were in Medina, the Ansar, they love those who emigrated to them, meaning from the attributes or characteristics of the people of Medina is that they were very hospitable and welcoming, and they loved welcoming and being hospitable and helping those who came and performed the hijrah from Mecca to Medina. يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. They loved those individuals who emigrated to them. They never had anything in their hearts against them. And they actually gave preference to them over themselves, as Allah Azza wa Jal says, يُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ, that they preferred them over themselves. So they would treat them even better than themselves or their own family members. And the reason why I've mentioned this verse is that we live in a society now where people who aren't from this land end up coming and living in this land from, whether it's some parts of Europe or Asia or Africa or other parts of the world. And sometimes as people who have been living here, although we ourselves, most of us have immigrated from other parts of the world anyway, but we almost have this sense of entitlement, and we start to have this animosity towards people simply because they came from a certain part of the world and they settled here. Whether it's Eastern Europe, whether it's certain parts of Asia or Africa, people will have this resentment towards others simply because they've come and decided to live in this country. And the point is, in this verse, Allah is telling us that that's not from the characteristics of a believer. A believer shouldn't have this animosity towards others who are coming and living in their lands. Of course, it's a different situation because they were Muslim who were migrating to Medina, but the point still stands that the Ansar helped others. It was in their nature to help and take care of others and to show hospitality to others. And these are all Islamic traits and Islamic characteristics. And likewise, regardless of who is coming to this country and who is trying to find a better life, and we should know because either we ourselves or our parents or our grandparents also came to this country and they went through same experiences of people treating them in a negative way because of them coming to find an easier livelihood in this country. We should have some sympathy and empathy towards those who are coming to this country. We should make them feel welcome, Muslim or non-Muslim. Make them feel welcome, make them feel comfortable, take care of them, be hospitable to them. Because this is from the characteristics that the people of Medina had. يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. They loved those who emigrated to them. They would treat them well, even though they were harming themselves and they were losing out themselves because they were giving their wealth and their homes to people that they'd never seen before. And they were being hospitable and good to them for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And likewise, we should also have the same kind of mentality when it comes to treating others well who aren't from this land, who are trying to make a living. They don't know the language, they don't understand how to interact with others, or they're struggling to make a living. Likewise, we should show them a sense of love and treat them well, just like the people from Medina. Verse number 2 is in Surah Jum'ah, verse number 10, when Allah Azza wa Jal talks about the Jum'ah prayer, and Allah Azza wa Jal at the end of the verse, He tells us, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Remember Allah often that you may succeed. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He tells us about the Jum'ah prayer, and when the Jum'ah prayer begins, to leave business and to leave work and to pray Jum'ah prayer. Then Allah says, فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ, when the prayer finishes, when Jum'ah prayer finishes, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ, disperse within the land and seek from the bounty of Allah. Then He says, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, remember Allah often that you may succeed. And this shows us, in fact, one of the ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase us in our rizq and our sustenance, and increase us in our success when it comes to business and all facets of our life, by remembering Allah and doing dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something which we may fall short on. So a person may avoid salah at work because he thinks it's going to waste his time. A person may avoid fasting, maybe. A person may avoid the night prayer. A person may avoid Tarawih prayer. A person may avoid reading Quran because he thinks he's going to waste time, valuable time that he's spending on his own livelihood and on his own sustenance. Allah Azza wa Jal in this verse is telling us, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Straight after, Allah talks about people going out and seeking Allah's bounty, seeking Allah's provision. That a person should remember Allah often so that he can find success. Meaning, success will come with the remembrance of Allah, not without the remembrance of Allah. So when you don't remember Allah Azza wa Jal in your daily life, in every aspect of your life, then you're not going to find success. If you don't remember Allah Azza wa Jal, it's only when you remember Allah Azza wa Jal, when you increase in your adhkar of Allah Azza wa Jal, when you increase in your remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only then will a person find complete success and find happiness. The third verse is in Surah Talaq, verses number 2 and 3, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ, that whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out, and He will provide for him from where he does not expect. Again, this shows us from the ways in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for an individual and makes ways out for him from trials and tribulations and problems that he's involved in, situations that he's stuck in, that he needs to get out of. One of the ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides a way out for you is when you remember Allah, when you fear Allah, when you're God conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you have taqwa. And taqwa refers to being God conscious in all your affairs, in anything that you do. When you have this God consciousness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make for you a way out of your difficulties, of your trials and tribulations, of the problems that you're going through. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever fears Allah, whoever has taqwa, Allah will find, He will make for him a way out. وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ, and He will provide for you from where you don't even expect. Meaning, you'll be given blessings and you'll be given wealth and rizq and sustenance from places you never even imagined, you never even expected. Why? All as a result of you having taqwa and having God consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this again shows us the value and the importance and the blessing attached to a person having taqwa and having God consciousness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.